Jen?
One of my, one of my questions is when you go on a listing presentation, do you do it on your laptop or you just do it with paper or?
Both. Normally I
Both?
have I have all the comps in writing, which I put in a folder and whatever else.
Uh-huh.
And then I also go with an iPad or a laptop so that I can show them, because you can print off pictures of what's sold, but it doesn't really do it justice like it does if you can actually scroll through photos. Excuse me, let me shut this door. If you can actually scroll through photos on an iPad or computer, you get a much better picture of what these houses look like. And, they want to know how their house compares to all the other houses that have sold. And so you really get a much better picture, I think, rather than just looking at pieces of paper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like that's something that I need to be doing and I don't, and yet I think I do. So just a matter of doing it.
Well, and a lot of times if I think I know I'm in a competitive situation, and I know I have to come back another time, I'll bring Katie with me and I will just tell them, I'm here to tell you right now, I don't do everything. This is what Katie does. This is what I do. Sometimes I'll bring Ashley along. This is what Ashley does, so that they feel like they're getting the real team.
I like that.
Support, you know what I mean? But I mean, I would go with you anytime, if you needed to. I mean, I would go with you anytime you wanted to go. Because like I tell people, don't. And so I think the people that struggle the most are the newer agents that don't have a big database and they don't know when they have an opportunity for a listing and people ask them the tough questions like, well, so how many deals have you done and how long have you been in the business and what are your stats and where do you rank and blah, 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 blah. And of course I tell my team members, just, use my stats, use the team stats, use whatever you need. And I think obviously if people have their, people can just use the office stats if they don't have their own, well, this is what our office does and this is what, blah, blah, blah. So I think that helps. Don't you?
Yeah, I do. And you know what? If I were a new agent, I'd be on every one of these Zoom calls because I think going out to list a house, as a new agent, I would want to know what people do. What's the best way to go in there? So, oh, well.
And Tim had a lot of good questions, that he talked about, like different questions that you should ask people, and most listing agents are afraid to ask, like you should, things that they should ask you is, what should I do to my house to get it ready to sell? What do I, and some sellers ask. I had some people on Delaney's, we're getting ready to list their house in Powell, and they asked us, what should we do? And it's really good because you can tell. And then there's other people that are, who I'm talking about, Katie. There's other people that are really arrogant, and no matter what you tell them, they aren't going to do anything.
No,
so you're
true.
Just, you're just wasting your time. Well, and we've gotten the same old excuses for 40 years, as you know, Joan. Well, I don't want to put carpet in because it's not going to be the carpet they want, and be better off to just. I have Marlene Marshall's house listed over on Hanover, and she's finally putting LVT in, but she resisted me forever and said, well, I'll just give an allowance because then they can pick what they want. And I'm like, Marlene, of all people, you're an agent. Allowances don't work. They never have.
No.
Maybe they worked back in 1960, but they don't work now. And so anyway, it's funny how people that are even seasoned in the business start acting like sellers again. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to out Marlene. I just happen to mention it because I know
Well, you don't walk into a house that has used, faded, maybe dirty carpet and go, oh, Eureka, they have an allowance. People don't, that's not what they see. So they see what they see.
And when they have stains on the carpet and it needs to be replaced, you just need to replace it. And excuses like, well, I can't be there to supervise it. And I'll tell you, my carpet guy said, to be honest with you, if the sellers came by to supervise our work and got in the way, my guys would walk off the job.
Yeah.
So you really don't want
the
sellers there trying to supervise because it's not really going to come
No,
out to their advantage. You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah. Marcia, do you have, what kind of questions do you have? I mean, like what I'm kind of trying to mix it up a little bit. You know, a lot of people have come in and talked about, you know, how to list a house, what to do, how to do this, how to stage, all that type of thing, questions you should ask the seller. But I kind of wanted to turn it around today and say, you know, what can we do? What can I help you with that you're struggling with? You know what I mean? Rather than me just talking to you about how to list a house, because I've done it for 46 years. I'd like to know, you know, what are you struggling with, or are you struggling? Are you having success with listings? Do you need help with listings? Tell me what you're thinking.
I haven't listed anything. I haven't sold anything yet, so I'll take any help that I can get.
Good for you, Marcia.
I'm starting to get traction. The neighborhood is turning. Kurt McCurdy got 2 listings that had I been more aggressive earlier, I would have gotten at least one of them. But there's one that I'm working with now. I was told to let her go because she insisted that I find a new house before she would list one. And I'm saying, you know what, that's $800,000 with a $300,000 buy and a $500,000 list. That's $300 an hour. I'm going to work it. But I need to find her one. I need to find her a condo. She's decided on Windsor Bridge in New Albany. So there are none currently for sale. There's one that's contingent. So I called that agent and I said, look, if you need a backup offer, I'm willing to, you know, she's possibly work with that. I passed out flyers to all the homeowners that said, hey, anybody want to move? Happy to. Am I allowed to do that?
Hey, Marcia.
Yes, ma'am.
Marcia, I have a really good friend that lives in Windsor Bridge, and she happens to be the chatty Cathy of the neighborhood.
God bless you.
And
yes.
oh my God, she always knows. I'll call and ask her, do they want a first floor owner suite?
Windsor Bridge is in New Albany and it's 100% first floor master.
That's what I thought. Okay, I wasn't real sure, but
she's looking for the largest on the water if there is one. I found one that's an absentee owner. But,
yeah, I'll call my friend out there because she knows everything going on. So.
Oh my God, I owe you the biggest hug. Her husband has Alzheimer's
too, right?
Huh?
And she knows everybody out there too, right?
Oh my gosh, she knows everybody. She is truly the chatty Cathy of the neighborhood. And she does book club and she golfs with the women. And yeah, she knows everything. I'll call her.
Oh, God bless you. This lady, her husband has Alzheimer's and has to move.
And in a way, Marcia, I can't blame this lady for not wanting to sell until she found something, because with inventory as low as it is, I mean, I was surprised when you said there's 9 listings in there. But in most
there's
cases,
one.
Huh?
One, and it's already sold. Sorry.
Oh, 1. I'm sorry. I thought you said 9.
That's okay.
But yeah, I mean, with listings as low, the inventory as low as it is, I mean, almost everybody wants to know where they're going before they get, before they go.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
If they put their house on the market, it'll sell in a New York minute. But if they don't have any place to go, then they're sort of,
Right, they're selling in 3 days here, so she needs to be able to know where she's going. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I don't blame her, and she's a friend, so, she's got her hands full with an Alzheimer's patient, so anything I can do.
And where's her current home when you're ready to put it on? Where is it?
Woods of Bale Canyon.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
There's 2 for sale right now, and one's 507, one's going to be 500.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, there's 5 more like her. If I can get just one to turn, I'm good.
Oh, because there's more people in Woods of Bale Canyon that want to sell?
Yeah, because most of us have been here for over 30 years. We're tired of the yard work.
Did you ever know Troy Fabish's parents, Frank and
Gale?
Gale. Frank and Gale?
Were they in Bale Canyon? Oh,
Yeah.
they were. They were. They were even on Hidden Meadow, weren't they? Or on Maple Grove.
They were on that cul-de-sac street. What's the name of it, Katie? Do you remember?
Maple Grove? Maple? Yeah.
Someplace in there, huh?
I don't remember.
I can't think of it right now. We've got it in dot loop, but I can't remember. because we were going to list it and then they end up renting it to somebody, and then the renter, I think the renter's now moved out, so I don't know what they're doing.
That's another one to look at.
Yeah, well, Troy, I'm sure will be looking at it.
Yeah, let him have that one. That's family. I
Yeah,
sent out
exactly.
flyers to everybody in the neighborhood. I'm on my second month of sending out market updates. So
Good.
that's where I got this one lady. So I've had 2 calls so far.
Well,
So
and what we do a lot, and I'm sure if you've been to any of the meetings, Katie's probably told you this before, you've heard it before. We send out tons of letters. And because, you know, in this market, particularly in the, you know, in the 300 price range, the 500 stays a few hours longer than the 300, but the 300s and the 200s just get snatched up in a heartbeat, you know? So what I've been doing is sending letters out to everybody in the neighborhood. When I miss out on a deal, I send letters out to everybody in the neighborhood saying, you know, I have buyers looking, and I call out their name. I don't necessarily call out their last name, but I ask them if I can have permission to say, you know, can I say who you are? And they always say yes. And so I'll say my buyer, Cynthia, and her husband and her family are looking to be in Alum Crossing. You know, if you know of anybody in Alum Crossing that wants to sell, please let me know. I got 2 hits on that. I showed one of them last week. I'm showing another one tomorrow. And then she's probably going to buy one of those. I had, there was a house on Scenic Drive down in the Beachwold section, which is the north side of Clintonville, north of Henderson Road. And it's a very beautiful street, backs up to the river. Well, one side does, the other side doesn't. And Marcy Press had a listing there, and we wrote a full price offer cash, and it actually needed remodeled. It wasn't really all that big. It's only like 1470 square feet. On the first floor was a ranch, and then there was about another 700 finished in the lower level, and it was not walkout. But they were asking 5 1/4. I knew she had 4 offers. I knew at least 2 of them were financing. So we thought, my gosh, if we offer 5 1/4 cash, we'll get it. You know, wrong. We didn't. And because the other cash offer was 530. And, you know, my people would have paid 530, but we were never countered. You know, we were just kicked to the curb. So I sent letters around Scenic Drive and said, you know, my people just missed out on this house down the road. They were willing to pay full price, but somebody beat us out. Do you know of anybody in the neighborhood that's willing to sell? I can make it a very fast, seamless transaction. Hopefully, you know, not a ton of showings, just try to get, you know, my buyer in and in contract. And I got 2 hits on that. So I'm going to see both of them this week. So, I mean, the letters really do work, but you've got to be pretty specific. They've got to feel like, because I found this out well, I guess you could say the hard way or the easy way. I had a buyer who was looking to buy in treetops a couple years ago. And so I sent letters out to treetops, and I called the guy's name out. I said, Sean, and Sean is interested in, I don't think I said his last name, you know, for privacy, but I said, my buyer, Sean, is looking for a place, blah, blah, blah. And they said, and this one guy called me back, and he had a whole stack of letters. When I got there, he had a whole stack of letters on his kitchen counter. And I was like, it looks like I wasn't your first letter. And he says, no, you weren't. And I said, just curious, why'd you call me? He said, because you specifically mentioned a buyer. And he said, I felt like the rest of the people were just fishing for business. And I said,
that's a good idea.
Okay.
So,
So if your lady will let you, and you don't have to mention last name, but if your lady will let you, and just at least let her mention your first name, my buyer Josephine is interested in living in this condominium. And then sometimes I really juice it up. You know, I'll say, so-and-so's been looking for a long time. We've been looking for quite some time for houses. And we keep coming back to your neighborhood because it feels like home. People love that. They love that. That's how
awesome.
I found, you know, it didn't work out, but that's how I found that one for Alex Denman in Wesleyan Woods, because people were calling saying, well, you know, if somebody really loves this neighborhood, we want them to be in here. You know what I mean? So, and sometimes I even have neighbors call me and tell me that they're not moving, but, well, I'm not moving, but I know 2 people down the street that are. Here's their number, you know? And so it's kind of fun. But yeah, Katie, you can send Marcia our letters if she wants to,
Oh, God bless you.
if she wants to see. But
No, I
we've
didn't
had
use
really,
her.
really good success. And like I said, we just call out the name of the buyer. And like the buyers I have for Scenic Drive, they come from Brunswick, Ohio. So I'll even say, this is my buyer, you know, Susie from Brunswick, Ohio. She really, really loves your neighborhood. We missed out on this house, blah, blah, blah. You know, do you know anybody that's considering selling? And then just kind of go on from that. So yeah, there's absolutely positively nothing wrong with that in soliciting for business. I only like to do it if I really am soliciting. I don't like to do it just to, you know, just to get business. But you know, if you go to enough open houses and do things, you know, you pick up buyers pretty quickly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, I didn't use their name, but I said lovely couple who I had the pleasure of living with in my neighborhood for years due to health reasons. So I explained why they wanted it, said that they had fallen in love with that neighborhood. So hopefully
Yeah,
that'll
that probably
trigger
works
something.
just as well, right? I mean, I would think so.
I don't know. We'll see.
so
No phone calls yet.
a couple other things we do that we found make it a little more successful is I actually, or Barb will do them, we hand address the envelopes rather than like doing just a postcard or, you know, printing labels, because then it looks less like a piece of marketing and like a real letter, and they're more likely to open it.
Good idea.
We sign all of them, you know, with a real pen.
With the wet signature, yeah. And we, even though the letter is generic, we say, dear Bob and Margaret, dear Sue and Bob. You know, we personalize every single one, even though the main part of the letter is all just a copy. You know what I mean? And then the other thing I do, probably sneaky, but I don't put Gale Group return address on it. I put Barbara and Walter Gale. And, you know, like it's more personal for me, because I think if they see a business name in the return envelope, they may just throw it away. Thinking, well,
Okay.
I don't want to open anything from the Gale Group. That's just, they're just soliciting business, or they're selling me toothpaste, or they're doing something, you know what I mean? So I always use my own personal address labels so that it really looks, and they, you know, they are opening them. So that's good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And a lot of the time, like most of the time, we haven't ended up selling that house to the buyer we were mentioning in the letter, but we still got it as a listing. I think people see like the effort that we put into the letters shows a little bit of our commitment to our clients, that we're willing to do that for them, and they like that. So they'll still list with us even if our buyer doesn't buy it.
Well, to be honest, Katie, Alex Denman, who I'm meeting later this afternoon, I got him on the letters, and he hasn't bought anything yet, but then I sent letters out for him. And then, so we found a couple things for him to look at. And then if we do put this house in contract today, then I'm going to list his house, but he was originally from the letters. I mean, it's amazing how far back we can trace these letters. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And people appreciate that. The buyers and the potential buyers really appreciate it, because it shows that you're a realtor that'll go the extra yard for them. You know what I mean? Like I had people say to me, not Alex, but Johnny, and some of these people, they're like, really, you would send letters out? And I'm like, yeah, why not? And they go like, I don't know, I never heard of that. And I said, well, you like this area, you want to live here, let me just see if I can find something else for you. And they're like, wow, that's awesome. So they really do appreciate it, that you're willing to spend your time and a little bit of your money for stamps to actually go out, that you're serious about helping them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important, you know?
Well, I'm hoping that helps. And she's the kind of person that'll talk too. So maybe I get one out of this one, but I'll get 6 more down the line. So that's why I wanted to go the extra mile. What do you use? Mail merge, or how do you?
I just
use our hands.
I just print a list of the addresses from the auditor's website. So Franklin County Auditor is a little bit easier because you can search by subdivision name, and it'll just pull all the streets in that subdivision. Delaware, you can only search by street name, so you just have to know what the streets are.
Delaware, you can report. You can do by subdivision too. You just have to write a report.
Oh, well, yeah. See, I didn't even know that. I always just print out the streets. So,
But
yeah.
How do I download? I couldn't download Franklin County.
I just print it off and handwrite the envelopes.
Okay.
So I just like print off a list, or just keep the list in front of me on my computer and just address all the envelopes by hand. So it takes a little bit of time, but I mean,
Sometimes she gets me to help out.
Yeah.
It's a family affair.
It's a family affair.
Or
So
if I,
tell us real quick, Marcia, how do you get the subdivisions in Delaware? Because that's something we need to write down, make sure we remember that, because that's helping everybody here.
I go to the auditor's website, and then it asks you to write a property report, and then you have to go in and define the parameters that you want. Like, do you want everything, which is like the description and all that kind of stuff, or do you just want the current owner? Mostly I go for the current owner, the last sale date, and what else? Yeah, last sale date, current owner, address, and then I turn around and import it to Command. Now, when you import it to Command, it's going to come out, it'll say null, it won't say, so yeah, that's how you know you imported it, but then you can go back and fix it. And then I do a search for their emails and phone numbers, and now all of a sudden I got ways to contact them on a regular basis. Command does not work for me. I cannot do, like, I try to put them on neighborhood nurtures, but that's why I do the flyers for market updates and things like that. So it's really, really cumbersome, but hopefully it'll get better. But at least you can download the information.
Excuse me.
If you want me to walk you through it, I'd be happy to. I'm trying to do it from memory right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Katie, maybe you two can connect a little bit later, and although Katie's pretty smart, so she might be able to figure it out, but at least, oh my gosh. I'm having a real sneezing spell here. I am actually outside on my porch because my daughter's here from New York, and she's in a Zoom call inside the house. So I said, well, I better go outside the house because I'll just annoy the hell out of her. So so I'm outside, but it's very breezy in here, and I have allergies and stuff, so it's, you know, it's interesting. But anyway.
My next big fear is, since it's such a high number of bids and things, that kind of concerns me because I don't know how to deal with that.
What is it? What was that again? Say it again.
If I go to write an offer, and with all the different, because the market is so tight right now, I know to put in with a gap clause, appraisal gap clause, and a couple of other ways to write the contract. So if I get to where I'm writing a contract, I could probably use a little direction on how best to win the offer.
Yeah, and we're happy to help you with that too. Although we had some buyers that we just lost 6 in a row, so I'm not sure how good we are. But I mean, literally, this was in the 240, 250 range, and we were writing offers at 267 and 275 and not getting them. And ouch. I mean, like, I don't know how much you have to write for a 240 house to get it, but the people that got it, like one we were trying to do with Gina and Conley, they paid like 285, you know, on a 240 house. I mean, you know.
I saw Tara Schiff just did one for 580 on a 460 resale, and the owner only had it a year. I was like, holy crap, that's amazing. It's only an 1,800 square foot condo.
And they paid 460 for it, and she had to go to 480 to get it?
No, they paid 460 for it a year and a half ago, and she sold it for 580, $120,000 more.
Did they do anything to it?
Didn't look like it. Absolutely zero backyard.
And was that because of multiple offers, or is that what they had it listed for?
I didn't dig into it. It's just a condo neighborhood that they're selling. If they look nice, they're selling relatively quickly, but I've never seen one sell for that price before. I give Tara a lot of credit. She can sell anything for more than I would have ever dreamed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Well, we're all having to do that now. And, you know, I just keep telling people that, I keep telling the buyers that, I mean, obviously, if you're going to be transferred in a year, I can't really recommend that you spend $30,000 or $40,000 over asking price for a house. But if you're going to be there 5 or 6 years and the interest rates are less than 3%, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, you're going to be fine. I mean, maybe you're not going to make as much equity as you thought, but every time you make a mortgage payment, you're paying yourself. You're paying your mortgage way down. You've got, I mean, if you have a $1,200 mortgage payment, you pay $2,000 a month, then you're really paying it down. And you know, you can't, it's kind of like it's a win-win, you know. Yes, I mean, it'd be nice if you get it at a better price, but if you got it at a better price, the interest rate would be a lot higher. You know what I mean? So everything is kind of a trade-off. And when the interest rates go higher, then I think the prices will probably level off a bit. Don't you think, Joan?
Yeah, I do. And I think too, we'll probably, I think it was Gary Keller said, we're going to see a lot more inventory in some months. I don't know how long, because so many people are not making their mortgage payments.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, they could end up having their houses short sale, foreclosed.
I read over 40% of the homeowners are behind on their house payments. That's a lot of houses.
And you know, it may not be that big here in Columbus, Ohio, just because I think we're a little different economy than a lot of cities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we'll see that. So.
Yeah, I mean, the coastal communities and the resort communities, I think, are probably going to get hit the hardest. My son lives in Vegas, and it's just devastating there right now, you know, because all of their revenue is basically based upon their entertainment and the gambling and whatever else. And, you know, I mean, some of the casinos are open, but they're only open to a quarter of the capacity. And, you know, you have to wear a mask, and, you know, people that are gambling and doing stuff, they don't want to be inside wearing a mask all, you know, hours on end.
Trying to drink.
Yeah. How do you drink with your mask on?
How do you drink?
Well, I suppose you pull it down just to have a drink, but you know what I mean? It's just, it's just difficult. And he says he doesn't see, you know, I mean, you know, he doesn't know, but he doesn't see that coming back for some time, because it's just, you know, it's the wrong industry. And we had a buyer recently, not our buyer, but a co-op on a house I just listed. And this lady makes, you know, 6 figures, drives a very nice car, and just has one child. And she was trying to buy one of our listings. And basically, you know, the lenders now are sort of targeting, if you may, retail, and leisure, you know, people that work for cruise lines, and entertainment stuff like gambling and that, you know, people that do that kind of stuff. And this lady has a very, very high salary, but and she got a pre-approval letter, but when they dug into it and got it to underwriting, they found out that 35 to 40%, and she is in retail, and 30 to 45% of her income is based on bonus. And they were like, what if she gets no bonus this year?
Oh, wow.
So they said no.
Wow.
You know?
Ouch.
And so it's just one of those really tough things and I think we're probably going to start seeing more of that, because there are certain industries, I mean, it doesn't seem fair, but there are certain industries that are kind of being targeted now because they seem to be the first to fall and the last to recover. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's understandable. I mean, you know, look at all the AMC theaters and all that kind of stuff that I don't know if any of them are open yet, but, you know, just like the Jackets. I mean, you know, you couldn't go to a game, and who knows when you're going to be able to go to a game again. You know, it's just anything that's indoors is just, and so it's going to be really interesting to find out what people do later in the fall when it gets cold and people can't hang out outside. You know, where are they going to go, right?
Right. Hey, is the lease purchase a possibility right now, or is it market too hot to even consider that?
I would say that kind of depends upon the seller. I mean, if you have somebody that is interested in doing a lease purchase, is it because they don't feel like they get financed now, or what's the reason?
She's in the process of getting her citizenship. She needs about 3 more months to do that, but she wants to buy the house now. She can't, or at least the one lender I talked to, she couldn't qualify until she had the actual citizenship. So I referred her to a
Portfolio lender?
No, I referred her to an attorney, an immigration attorney.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Is portfolio lender an option?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that anybody, I don't know. I'm not sure if anybody can do it without so she has no immigration papers right now. What does she have?
I didn't go into that because I didn't want to discriminate. I understood that was the lender's job. She's got $35,000 to put down. She's got, and she
You have a job?
She has it. She has her own company. She has a job. She qualifies for the loan, but she doesn't have the citizenship. So that's why I thought, well, lease purchase, she gives her time to get the citizenship. But do we want to do
You
that?
don't have to have citizenship to qualify for a loan. You can get a loan with a green card. Does she have a green card?
I didn't pursue that because I
I
can.
think that's
I
probably
will.
what she needs is a green card. So I'm not quite sure how she's operating a business without it, but I won't go there. So
There's
but yeah,
5 more just like her.
huh?
There's 5 more just like her.
Yeah.
What
yeah.
price range is she, Marcia?
But she's got $35,000 down, and I didn't get into the details of what she
Okay,
wants.
okay.
She wants to live in the Westerville, Columbus area, Columbus, Texas, Westerville schools.
Okay.
Her boyfriend is also, he already owns 2 houses and looking for more. And 2 of the people that work for her are looking for homes.
Can
Now-
he help her out or not? I mean, if he can qualify to purchase, can he help her out? I mean, you probably haven't asked. Sorry, I had to go inside. It's just too hot outside.
Oh,
But can he? I mean, maybe he could even co-sign for her. I don't know. I mean, I guess we'd kind of need to know more details. And like you said, we probably have to wait and see what her attorney says. You know.
Right. He probably could help her out because he is a U.S. resident. He also has a good job, and I mean, he's going back to school. He wants to get a graduate degree, so they're decent people. She's the kindest, nicest. She owns a cleaning company. I've never seen anybody more organized or more efficient than this girl.
Wow, that's fabulous. That's fabulous. Yeah,
It is.
after she talks to the immigration attorney, I mean, I don't think you'd be out of line. Do you, Joan, if she asks a few more questions, just so you know where you
Yeah.
are? Maybe ask the immigration attorney if you're not comfortable, asking her, but I think that she should be able to, I mean, she probably wants to do it without the boyfriend's help. Maybe the boyfriend is not for sure a keeper, so she kind of doesn't maybe want to buy something. She just wants to buy it on her own, which I get it. So that could be one thing. But I think that maybe we can, she might be able to do a portfolio loan, but I think she's probably going to have, she does not have to be a citizen, that I know, but I know she probably is going to have a green card.
yeah.
Okay. They wanted. She got
Maybe that's
somebody
what
that would
she's
give her
working on. Maybe that's what
8%.
she's going to have in the next 3 months.
I told her not to pay 8% though.
Not to what?
Pay 8%.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. No.
No,
She got quoted 8%, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa! Somebody's doing something. I don't think you want to do that.
no.
Yeah, no, you don't.
She will pay off this one and buy another one. She's the most ambitious person I've ever met.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, hopefully. If I close this one, then I get 4 more.
Yeah, go get her. Go get her, Marcia.
I haven't done it yet, though. It's like I said before. You
You
gotta,
will.
You got to
Yeah,
do it.
You will. Okay, so as far as listings, what else would you guys like to know? What can I help you with?
What's a reasonable amount of time to budget for a listing? Because if all of these that I have in the air, cards in the air, then I'm concerned about budgeting time. So what's reasonable amounts of times for each stage of the listing?
You mean how long should what term should you list it for? I want to make sure I understand the question.
I'm trying to budget my time. So I don't want to overcommit. That's my biggest fear, because if I overcommit, then I'm not doing the buyer or seller justice. So I know the listing appointment, 45 minutes, I budgeted 45 minutes for that. And the prep time before that depends on how well I know the neighborhood. So that's another, I budgeted an hour for that.
The neighborhood and that type of thing. And You know, I normally budget for an hour for the first listing appointment. If it's a competitive situation, of course, I try to make sure that I get back in for the second interview because I know that they're going to, I know they're going to talk, they've talked to people before me. They're most likely going to talk to people after me. If I have the opportunity, if I know up front it's a competitive situation, I try very hard to be last. If
Good
I
idea.
if I know that if I know that they're talking to other people, I will sometimes say, just please promise me you don't do anything until I talk to you.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't like what I have to say, you know, you can move on, but at least promise me that you will listen to what I have to say before you commit to someone. Because early on in the game, you know, I had people that would make listing appointments with me and they'd make listing appointments with 3 other people. And before my turn came up, they'd already listed with somebody else. So I never got in the door, you know, so I always want to make sure I get in the door.
Right. And part of that, like I'm up against Kurt McCurdy and Joe Jansen. Well, Joe Jansen, he's going to get it. He's going to get Waverly Place, but Woodsville Canyon is 50-50, me or Kurt McCurdy. But what I told them there is, does he put it on Facebook? Does he, you know, all the things that Keller Williams does, he doesn't do. He just, he listed it on Friday and had 2 open houses on Saturday and Sunday. And I go, well, these are the things that I would do that he didn't do. Not to criticize him, to show value added for my service.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, and we do sometimes, we like to, if we can, once they commit, we try to get the photos out, the photographer out on Thursday. We like Columbus Pics. They're very, very good. And if they go out like on a Thursday, whatever day they go out, they have the photos to us by noon the next day. So if they go out on Thursday, they'll have the photos back to us by Friday at noon. We'll put the listing on Friday, and then my son Ash loves to do open houses, so he normally will hold it open Saturday and Sunday. Can you do that later, please? Anyway, he'll normally do that on Saturday and Sunday, and then we don't have showings until the open house.
Okay.
I mean, that's just how, you know, that, because in that way, if we don't have showings until the open house, we also have a better chance of selling it ourselves. You know, I think Tim probably told you, if you guys were at Tim's class, you know, when people say, is it better to do it online or offline? And there's a lot of reasons why you want to do it offline, because before it hits the market, because you have a better chance of selling it yourself, and you know the house very well by that time. And so you're going to be doing the best you can to get the most you can for the seller. You know what I'm saying? So
yes, ma'am.
Even though there is some self-serving aspects of that, obviously you double dip on the commission, but you also, you're intimately, if the sellers have been honest with you, you know the ins and outs of the house more than some agent that just walks through the door tomorrow, you know? And so you have an opportunity to get them more money. You can push the buyers higher, and, you know, and you can do a good job for them. So if you have a buyer for any of these properties you're working on, or somebody in the office has a buyer, that would be a good way to get some of us to participate. You know what I mean? Like if you happen to say to us, you know, you're working on something on Waverly Place or whatever, does anybody have a buyer? And if any of us have a buyer, we can say, you know, yeah, we do. Let's help, you know, and we can help you out, help you get the listing, because we have somebody we can show it to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't have to be you. You know what I mean? Because if you don't have a whole lot of buyers, you may not have somebody in a certain price range all the time. But at least if you know somebody that has a buyer and they're in your office, that's always good for you.
Yeah.
You know, good for them too.
Awesome idea.
Yeah, I mean, you might just ask around, or even send out an email that you're working on a listing in such and such a place, and you know, if anybody has a buyer, you know, you'd love to get them in or something like that, and then, you know, go back to the seller. I don't think anybody in our office would try to come over the top and steal the listing from you. I really don't think they would.
What goes around comes around anyway. So, you know, I mean, you can't worry about that. You just have to believe the best.
Exactly.
Hey, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Barb, so Probably a month ago, I'm working with these people, buyers out around West Liberty, way out there past Marysville.
Oh, yeah.
So I showed this one house twice.
Out in the holler.
And
Out in the holler.
yeah, I was way out there. So anyway, but the seller then, so my people, they offered on something else, but then the seller sent me a message and she goes, Joan, we really liked you. We'd like for you to come and list our house. Okay. Because, they'd had a lot of showings and she liked me. So anyway, I go out there about, 10 days ago to list the house. I have everything ready. I have my signs. I have everything. We sit and we talk about the comparables and decided the price where they were with the other agent was where it should be. And so she said and her husband just had surgery, and she goes, you know what, Joan, without a doubt, we're going to list with you because we know you're going to sell it. We like you. And I go, oh, God, I smile. So anyway, she said they didn't want to sign it until they knew more when they could put it on because of her husband's surgery. And she had to finish the deck. So I go, okay, that's fine. I leave my sign out there because I know I have the listing. And so last week I talked to her 2 or 3 times. She just gave me a progress report and sent me a picture of her front door with the fall decorations. I mean, they're just really nice people. She calls me this morning. Somebody came out on Saturday from Columbus. They remembered when it was for sale. They just drove out there to see if it was for sale. Didn't see a sign. They went up, knocked on the door, and they put a contract on it. So I'm thinking, oh my God, what should I have done? Should I have insisted they sign it? I don't know. But anyway, I don't think I'll get the listing unless this contract doesn't work out.
So
What would you have done?
is the contract something that they're willing to accept?
Well, the possession is a big major thing and they may not be able to. It may not work out.
Well, I mean, probably one of the things I would do is, it sounded like they said they weren't really ready, willing, and, they weren't willing to sign anything right then when you were out there.
They would not, no. And I didn't push them because, hey, they like me. They called me to come and list their house. And I just, I said, well, that's fine. They've filled out the residential property report disclosure. They did that. And I said, well, it's fine. I'll just send everything to you in dot loop and have you to sign there when you're ready.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's a tough one because all of a sudden, then somebody that they weren't expecting, it's not like they were generating that.
No.
The sign was at their house, but I take it was not in their yard.
No sign out. They're not, and of course, they're not doing any advertising. The people just like the house, and so they just were out driving and drove by and went up and knocked on the door. So,
well, probably at that point, the only thing I think you could do, Tim might have something different to say, but at that point, what you could do, I don't know where they are, if they're negotiating right now or they have written a contract or not written a contract. I probably would have said, well, the toughest thing is negotiating on your own behalf. Why don't I come out and why don't I negotiate the contract for you? And maybe you could just work out a fee that you'd be willing to negotiate. I don't know what, that would be something you'd have to decide whether you can squeeze 1% out of them or, maybe it's 1,000, maybe it's 1,500. I don't know. But, I would just, if they haven't done anything or haven't signed the contract, I would at least say, why don't you let me at least take a look at it? Why don't you let me try to negotiate the contract?
Okay, I like that.
I'll just charge you a fee to do that. And certainly you're more than welcome to run it by your attorney as well. But we have standard Columbus Board of Realtor contracts, and we all know how easy it is to negotiate for how hard it is to negotiate for yourself and how easy it is to negotiate for somebody else.
No, okay, I like that idea. I told her I'd call her back today because if they do work it out, The possession is a major thing. They need a place to move to. They would even buy like a little $200,000 house. There's none available, so.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean.
But I like that idea.
I mean, I would try it. I mean,
Yeah,
at least you get, you're going to get paid for your time, the time you
Yeah.
have spent, and maybe make a few bucks in the meantime. And like I said, I would tell them that you're doing it because you know how hard it is to negotiate on your own behalf, and
uh-huh.
you could negotiate a lot stronger on your behalf than maybe they could, because
Yeah.
they tend to talk to the buyers, and then if they like the buyers, they start throwing things in that maybe if they had an independent person, they wouldn't do. And the next thing you know, they're like, why did we throw that in? We really wanted that, and then how do you get it back? I mean, it just gets
Yeah.
really, and who knows, it may not work out possession wise.
Well, you know what? I guess there's a part of me that hopes it doesn't. And really, it's all predicated on, like I said, her husband has had surgery. Well, it's been 3 weeks ago now, had a hip replacement. And so now they've got to move and find a place to move. And they're actually building a house. And because of COVID-19, it's hard to get some of the building supplies. And it's a $400,000 house. So, hey, if I could work it out for 1%, I like that idea. Thank you.
I mean,
You're so smart.
If it doesn't give you 1%, then just, offer something else. I mean,
Yeah.
say, and tell her that, because you have the ability to negotiate the possession probably better than she does. And you can say that
Probably.
doesn't seem disingenuous or doesn't seem like, you're saying anything that she, you're just trying to help.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, good.
Okay, it's 3:52 actually.
Okay,
Anyone else have any other questions? I actually have to go show a house here in a moment,
good.
but I don't want to miss any questions if anybody has any.
Thank you so much.
No,
Oh, you're
Great
welcome,
idea.
Marcy. You can, come talk to Katie and I anytime. We'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have, or, do anything we can to help you.
Thank
Good.
you so much.
Thank you, Barb, so much.
Send the letter to her, right, to Marcia?
Yes, I will send it to her.
Okay. Joni,
Thank
thank you. Marcia, thank you. Katie, sorry we didn't have a full quorum, but like Tony and I were saying, Monday afternoons are tough because everybody's trying to follow up from the weekend. And there's been so many listing classes this month that I'm not surprised, because people have probably already gone to 5, 6, 7 listing classes. Katie said several people had told her they were going to be on and they weren't, but they were at Tim's on Friday, so they probably figured they got everything they needed to learn.
Well, you know what? I like that we had time just to talk and ask questions. That's good. So this has been good.
That kind of stuff more often, really.
I know. That's what we miss, being in the office, all of us together.
Exactly.
I know. All right. Thank you, Barb. Bye, Katie. Bye, Marcia.
Thank you.
Bye, Marcia. Bye, Katie. Bye, Joni.
Bye.
Bye.